I know that you also help people find good matches as far as buying a horse that meets their needs and their energy levels and all of that. Like, I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you go about doing that, matching horses with riders.
A lot of that is I just find out where they want to be, what they want to do and what their goal is. I can talk for an hour on this subject, but nuts and bolts is, we all have this vision of running across the beach or up a mountain on this beautiful stallion. But you know what? It's really not. It's not reality. We'd be much happier riding just this well-broke horse through the neighborhood, because that's what, that's a little more realistic to where we really are. And I enjoy helping people get there, and people kind of know I do that. So they'll tell me when they have a horse for sale, or someone else will say I need a horse, and it's kind of a little bit of a matchmaking process. Sometimes I'll have, the people come out and ride a couple of mine, just so I can kind of see where they're at and what kind of horse they do well with. And then I'll help them find them. I'll make some recommendations of what they look for. And then I kind of set them on the path of shopping for a horse. And then when they find one that they really like, then they just hire me to come out and ride it for them. I can usually figure out pretty quickly, what's good and bad about a horse, and then we can make decisions. Because no horse is 100% perfect. But you can choose what things you want to deal with and what things you can't deal with.
Sure.
For instance, there's a horse at my house right now. It was bucking people off where it was at. Gets along great at my house. So that horse, if it has a rider who's going to give it a job, who has some feel, wants to go get some stuff done, it'll be great. But that horse isn't going to move real slowly for a timid rider. So it's just finding, you got to figure out what the horse is good at, and you got to figure out what the person wants to do.
Now, how deep do you go with that? I know one woman I was speaking with recently will actually have them fill out a pretty in-depth questionnaire with everything about where they're at emotionally to, what they want to accomplish in the relationship with the horse. And I know that, I've seen it in so many different facets of riding where a horse and a rider will almost find each other based on whatever issues they need to work through or whatever they're, whatever they want to accomplish. And I think it's super cool that she goes to that depth with it, but do you think that that's necessary in order to find a good match?
I can usually figure out where the person is by just watching them ride a horse or two and talking to them for a little bit.
Sure.
And, just asking them where they want to go. I sell just a couple horses a year that I feel are good horses. And it's been really neat because the right person for those horses has always shown up. I had this little horse that I had been offering for sale for, several months, and different people had come out, and they, you could just tell it wasn't the right match. And then one day this lady kind of came out of the blue, and I said, try out this horse. And she got on him and started riding him around, and he stopped and started yawning. And I said to the lady, what do I have to do to send this horse home with you?
You have salesmanship,
too. He had found his person.
And I'm sure they're doing well to this day.
They are. And it's just been neat. The horses I have sold, they go to somebody and they stay there. It's really cool.
That's awesome. And that is probably every bit as rewarding for you in your chosen profession as getting a horse through an issue or really seeing a rider and a horse bond is being able to help people find their horses and vice versa.
Yeah. It was neat. There was a little horse I sold, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I saw her and the horse and her owner, and the owner is in their 60s and was just a beginning rider when I put the two of them together, actually placed in this big cowboy race. And, it was just a hoot, but they are just good together.
Super cool. I love that. And you can tell, too, when a horse and a rider have a good symbiotic bond with one another, it's really evident. I feel like, I was telling you earlier, I worked for that gentleman with 800 horses, and man, every single time I would feed with this one man, this one horse out of all those horses would come and would follow us back all the way to the gate because they had this connection, and he would always ride this one gelding, and that horse just loved him more and it wanted to hang out with any of those other horses out in the pasture. I think it's a really unique thing to witness.